Bonjour tout le monde, bienvenue à l'Université d'Ottawa. Pour ceux et celles qui ne me connaissent pas, je m'appelle Monica Gattinger. Je suis directrice de l'Institut de recherche sur la science, la société et la politique publique. Et je suis également présidente de Énergie positive. L'événement va avoir lieu en anglais, et si jamais vous avez des questions en français, vous pouvez vous sentir bien à l'aise de les poser dans la langue de votre choix. I would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional unceded Algonquin territory. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending this panel. For those who don't know me, my name is Monica Gattinger. I'm director of the Institute for Science, Society, and Policy, and I'm also chair of Positive Energy, our flagship energy program. The panel this evening is the public-facing portion of a planning workshop that we're undertaking over the next 24 hours to chart the next 3 years of Positive Energy. We are delighted to be broadcasting the event on Facebook Live. So welcome to those tuning in from outside the National Capital Region. For those who aren't familiar with Positive Energy, we launched the initiative 3 years ago. What Positive Energy does is we use the convening power of the university to bring together leading energy thought leaders from the business, from government, from Indigenous communities, from environmental NGOs, and from the academy. And we undertake solution-focused research to collectively tackle leading energy issues of the day. The first 3 years of Positive Energy have focused on strengthening public confidence in Canadian energy policy, regulation, and decision-making. We are delighted to work with multiple partners and funders in Positive Energy. The first 3 years of the project have been supported by multiple organizations coming from industry, from the policy worlds, and from the regulatory worlds. What we do at Positive Energy would not be possible with the support of our funders. They include Alberta Energy, the Alberta Energy Regulator, the British Columbia Oil and Gas Commission, the British Columbia Utilities Commission, the Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers, the Canadian Electricity Association, the Canadian Energy Pipeline Association, the Canadian Nuclear Safety Commission, Cenovus, Encana, and Natural Resources Canada. Nanos Research is our official pollster. I would also like to acknowledge that many of the representatives of funding organizations are here in the room today, so I'm very pleased to help you with us this afternoon. This evening's event focuses on the next 3 years of Positive Energy, an exciting new project that we are calling Trust in Transition. We're developing this project now and are delighted to have received funding from both the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council to support this planning workshop, from the Canadian Wind Energy Association, who's here in the room with us this evening, from Ontario's Independent Electricity System Operator, representative of which is also here in the room this evening, and from the University of Ottawa's Faculty of Social Sciences. Increasingly, we're being asked at Positive Energy, where are you going to go next? After this first 3 years of the initiative, what's next on your agenda? And what's emerged in our research so extremely clearly, notably through the work that we did with our Matter of Trust report, I believe that there are some on the tables with you today, is that social opposition to energy infrastructure development is not just about oil sands and pipelines. While certainly oil sands and pipelines make the news frequently and are often flashpoints for opposition, opposition to energy infrastructure development can also happen when it comes to renewable energy sources and lower emitting energy infrastructure. So think wind farms, think electricity transmission infrastructure, think hydropower, think nuclear. And for communities, the research that we've undertaken has really underscored that in many instances, the responses to new energy projects, whether they support or oppose them, is often not about climate. Climate is not always top of mind. In fact, local environmental impacts are often top of mind. So what we've been doing at Positive Energy is beginning to turn our minds to the issues of public confidence and trust in energy transition decision making. Because if governments don't have people on board for transition, Canada may not be able to move forward as expeditiously, as efficiently, and effectively as it might otherwise when it comes to energy transition. The country may even take one step forward and 2 steps back if there's public backlash to energy projects and energy decision-making processes for energy transition. Hence, Positive Energy's next project, Trust in Transition, will focus on this pivotal issue. It will be formally launched in the public months. As I just mentioned, we're now in the process of planning this following project. And Trust in Transition will build on Positive Energy's extensive research and engagement to date. Notably, as I mentioned a moment ago, the research that we've undertaken on the role of local communities and local community responses to energy infrastructure decision-making, but also to the role that we've undertaken when it comes to the role of public authorities in energy decision-making processes, policymakers, regulators, municipal governments, Indigenous governments. And it's our contention at Positive Energy that energy decision-making and energy transition decision-making are actually 2 related but distinct decision-making processes. Energy transition decision-making has a number of particular characteristics to it that we believe need to be focused on quite proactively in terms of research. Energy transition decision-making is fundamentally long-term decision-making. It's also decision-making where increasingly policy is driving the bus. And at Positive Energy, we've identified a number of key challenge areas when it comes to energy transition decision-making that we will be focusing our research in on over the next 3 years. The first, local actors are becoming far more important, and we believe will become far more important players when it comes to energy transition decision-making, so whether that's municipalities or Indigenous governments. Second, capacities for forecasting, projection, and futures planning for energy decision-making will become increasingly important. So being able to really look to the future with credibility and robust approaches. Third, innovation and technology development will also become far more important. And of course, thinking about social acceptance of innovation, of energy transition technologies will also become more important. And then fourth, the role of conventional resources and energy sources, oil, gas, nuclear, in the future of the country's energy systems. These are the 4 areas that we believe will be in substantial need of shoring up. Our planning workshop tomorrow will help us to identify what the key questions are and how Positive Energy will go about conducting research and engagement on those issues. We've convened a group of about 30 researchers and senior level practitioners from government, from industry, from ENGO, from Indigenous interests, from the Academy, to frame up the project's research and engagement strategy over the next 3 years of Positive Energy's work. Most of these folks are in the room here today. Maybe if people can raise their hand for those who are participating tomorrow. So you'll see we've got a pretty good group that we're working with. We are also delighted to be exploring new ways of conducting research and engagement. And to that end, are delighted to welcome Cameron Cross, a visual artist from Winnipeg, who's planning a major public art project in Ottawa, exploring the intersection between art, Indigenous peoples, innovation, and energy transition. Cameron, if you can give a wave, welcome, Cameron. So, for this public-facing panel, it is no accident that we've entitled it Energy Transition Decision-Making is Canada Up to the Task. And I think it's fair to say that Positive Energy is not cautiously optimistic that Canada is up to the task. I think it would be fair to say we are positively pessimistic, if such a concept is possible. It's so important to be addressing these issues sooner rather than later. And boy, have we got a great panel to do that this evening. Before I introduce them to you, though, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Jay Khosla to the podium to say a few words of welcome on behalf of Natural Resources Canada. Natural Resources Canada has been a solid supporter of our work, and Jay Khosla, in his role as Assistant Deputy Minister of the Energy Sector, has been particularly supportive, a big friend of Positive Energy. So please join me in welcoming Jay.